Alright, so, hey yo, my fellow Rumble Maniacs. It's Mr. Rumble Roses here once again, and welcome back to yet another installment of Elden Ring NIGHTREIGN Relic Loadouts. Today I'm going to be showing you some loadout stuff that I made for another character that I play as from time to time in the game, which is the Raider that you see before you, who I have donned in the Onion Armor, also known as the Katarina Armor. Last time I did a thing like this, I showed some relics and stuff that I use, excuse me, for Ironeye. But this time I figured I'd go for the next character that I play as from time to time, which is Raider. Raider, I would say, is one of my top 3 favorite characters to play as in this game. I would say like he's probably in the number 2 slot, with the number 3 slot at most probably being Duchess. Um, and everything. So, yeah. Now, before I kind of get started, I kind of want just to randomly put it out there and say that some of these loadouts or things I just kind of came up with on the fly. Some of them I might use from time to time. Others are just like proof of concept ideas and stuff like that. Um, Some of them have been, some of them are loaded, some of them are saved, but we're going to go follow them, and I'm going to show you guys. So I'm going to start from the very top thing, which is Raider's Urn. So this here is my fire loadout. This is what I probably often use for whenever I would queue up against, I think it's like the Sentient Pest boss and Caligo. So the first relic I'm using is a Grand Burning Scene, which has HP restoration upon colossal weapon attacks. Slowly restore HP for self and allies when HP is low, and defeating enemies restores HP for allies but not for self. So this is one of those, like, I guess, god tier like relics that I managed to get along my time of playing this game. It's a little something for me. There's a little something that has, like, gives some health for me, and like just in helping my teammates get some a little health back here and there. And I guess like overall, it's kind of like like a me. It's like like a me, like me, them, and all of us get like some sort of health in some sort of way. Next is Grand Tranquil Scene. It has a little thing of the duration of ultimate are extended for Raider. Taking attacks improves attack power, and starting government deals fire damage. So, on some of the characters in this game, I tried to do the best that I can as far as like having certain loadouts for certain bosses and stuff like that, where it's like my starting government deals X damage here, so that way I can be able to use it for for like the boss that I'm queuing up for in an expedition, and having like a little insurance policy, if you will, if I can't be able to find anything better than my starting weapon itself. And finally, I have the Grand Tranquil Scene, where guarding will draw enemies' attention while guarding. Changes compatible armament skill to Eruption as start of expedition, and physical attack up +2. Yeah, because of how this is like my fire loadout, I was like, you know what, I kind of wanted to see if I can have something that could do even more fire damage instead of having just like my base thing doing fire itself. So why not have the eruption astral war or art or the armament. Um, Physical attack up, I think is a nice little thing to have, and draw enemy attention while guarding. You know, I'd say that could be useful at times, maybe, but I don't really. I guess you could say it was just like one of those random effects where it's just like it's like a hit or miss thing. So next up is Raider's Goblet. This one I have Knight of Dregs, where it has status element gauge slowly increases after, slowly increases attack power. Um, attacks inflict rot when damage is taken, and rot in vicinity causes continuous HP recovery. This right here comes from the Dreadlord boss fight. Once you beat Dreadlord, you can actually get this. Grand Drizzly Blue has the blue Grand Drizzly scene where it has starting armament inflicts blood loss, and compatible armament skill changes to eruption, and +2 with intelligence. The intelligence thing, it may not be like the greatest, but having blood loss and eruption, it's not too bad of a thing. Because I really don't like having the Endure Ash War on the Raider's Great Axe thing. I think it's honestly kind of useless. I'd rather have if I was to do something like that, I probably would have like Royal Knight's Resolve or something like that. But that's just me. And the next one I have is Grand Luminous Scene, where I have another Ultimate Art Duration extended for Raider, improved colossal weapon attack power, and +3 in endurance. Now this is actually one of those. Now this right here is actually a thing of one of those relics that I use in quite a few of my builds, which you'll probably see somewhere down the line. So this one, I believe, was technically my loadout that I refer to as Will of Raider, but I changed the third one, which I'll get into in just a moment. So in this one, I have Raider. I think for Raider, where damage taken while using character skill improves attack power and stamina. Improved poise and damage negation when knocked back by damage, and strength and +1 in strength. I have the Willow of Balance, which you can get from defeating the Everdark Balancers. I got improved melee attack power, improved skill attack power, and then occasionally nullify attacks with damage negation and slower. Now, I know there's been like the whole situation of like having like the double balancer relics, but I thought maybe this one would be like a thing to use for Raider at most, especially like for the possible nullify attacks and damage negation is lowered. So I've been kind of playing around with that. And this one right here was actually something that I changed quite recently, which is a green grand twinkle scene, where it has HP restoration upon colossal weapon attacks, stamina recovery upon landing attacks, and changes the compatible armament skill to Gravitas at start of expedition. Now, between Gravitas and Endure, I would definitely be using this. I think Gravitas actually could be a bit more beneficial and more useful than that. So, there you go. This here is my Arcane Raider loadout. I think I actually have another one done, but yeah, so I have Dark Knight of the Fathom, which you get from defeating Everdark Augur, where it has increased maximum HP, continuous HP recovery, and slowly restore HP for self and allies when HP is low. So, there's that. You got the blue Grand Drizzly scene, where you can be able to have your HP increase for each great enemy defeated at Great Church, Arcane increase for each great enemy defeated at Run, and max FP increase for each Sorcerer's Rise unlocked. Now I believe that this came, and I believe this got introduced in the DLC to be able to be a thing in the base game, because I think originally this was like a Deep of Night relic that you can only be able to use in that mode, which I don't really use in this case, which I don't really play around in this case. But yeah, it's definitely been pretty interesting to be able to use this, especially to have a lot of health and everything. So there's that. And then there's the Grand Twinkle scene, which has the thing for improving the Arcane on Raider, but reducing the Vigor. And then you have +3 in Vigor and +3 in Arcane. So this is one of those character stat changing relics that you can be able to do, and I think it's pretty cool because, at least to me, anyways, It has it kind of gives like, you know, a lot more of the replayability, and, you know, it kind of like, you know, makes you ponder the ideas of like, you know, hey, what can I be able to use to, you know, to turn, you know, like turn this character into this type of, you know, you know, thing. So there's that. This one right here is a mind and intelligence thing, basically like what's basically what I like to refer to as a Faith Raider build. So I have two Everdark boss relics, which is Dark Knight of the Miasma and Dark Knight of the Wise. This one right here you get from defeating Everdark Caligo. This one you get from defeating Everdark Scythian Pest. So with Caligo's thing, you get Frostbite, Vicinity, Conceal Self. Starting Armament inflicts Frost. So basically, you know, you both, you know, do that. And improved physical damage negation, which I think is a nice little thing to have. Dark Knight of the Wise increases maximum FP and has FP restoration upon successive attacks, and max FP increased for each sorcerer's rise unlocked. And then of course, you know, Grand Burning Scene, where it has improved mind and intelligence, but reduced vigor and endurance. And you got the +3 in mind, +3 in intelligence for Raider, so there you go. Now this one I did kind of like out of pure random. Excuse me. So, this one right here, it has stamina recovery upon landing attacks, +3 in endurance, and ultimate art, auto charge +1. Grand Luminous Scene, where critical hits fills more of the art gauge. Defeating enemies fills more of the art gauge, and ultimate art, auto charge +3. I believe you can get this one from the collector's signboard. I don't know, like, if you have to beat like an Everdark boss to unlock it, or if it's just there. But that's where I got it at. And this is one of the things where it's like, I really like this one because, you know, with certain characters you can be able to have like, you know, you can have like an ultimate art type of build, and, you know, you can have the possibility of, you know, be able to proc your ult for a lot of reasons and stuff like that. And then I have taking attacks improves attack power, improved poise and damage negation when knocked back by damage, and physical attack up +2. Yeah, I think it's pretty useful. This one right here is my first Faith Raider build. So basically, I have the Grand Burning Scene and Grand Drizzly Scene, but in this case, I used the Knight of the Wise because I wanted to, because I wanted to kind of like do a little bit of a thing to, like, you know, have the you know, to have something a little different, and, you know, mainly have like my Stirring Armament inflict poison, and then, you know, whenever something gets poisoned or rotted in the vicinity, it increases my attack power. So, you know, there's that. It's pretty fun to build. It's a pretty fun little thing to use, especially, you know, having this little thing equipped. You know, like these two things. Because even though like some people may use incantations and, you know, staves, or like basically like staves and seals for things like maybe like Duchess, Recluse, maybe Revenant. You know, I feel like sometimes, like, depending on what you know, what things have, you know, sometimes I might, you know, use them from time to time, and this is one of those little situations where it's like, hey, you know, I can be able to, you know, but I can be able to use I can use those things as well. So there's that. This here is what I call CW Discovery. Basically, in a nutshell, it is my basically is my colossal weapons thing. Basically, the whole build revolves around this little bad boy right here, where it has dormant power, discovers colossal weapons, and +3 in dex. Which, like I said, you know, even though some things may not, you know, make much sense, you know, in some situations, it's like, hey, you know, you go with what you get. You know, and not to mention, you know, the whole like situation with improved attack power with 3+ greatswords equipped. And then, you know, we got this bad boy right here, you know, with the colossal weapon attack power, improved colossal weapon attack power, and ultimate art duration, and durage +3. And then I also have, the Black Claw necklace, which you can get from doing Raider's Remembrance. This is definitely a nice little thing to have, especially like if you're wanting to have maybe like, you know, the duration of ultimate art extended, you know, so like you can have that up a little bit more and, you know, stuff like that. So there you go. Next one is Spiritual Shelter Grail, which is all green. This is what I call my Tank Raider build. So you got this one, you got this thing right here. You got damage taken while using character skill, improves attack power and stamina, +2 in intelligence, ultimate art charge +2. And then I got partial HP restoration upon post damage attack, vigor +2, and poise +2. Now, I could be wrong about this, but I think you could probably get this at the collector's signboard. If not, then it's probably one of those god tier relics that I managed to get. This right here is what I call Colossal Restore, and it's all about. And then the reason for it is because of this relic, this little relic right here, where it has HP and FP restoration, restoration upon colossal weapon attacks. The only little downside is that the top thing is for Guardian, but I guess if you were to make like maybe like a I guess like if you were to make like a strength Guardian build, then you know this could probably be a thing to use for him. But this one I have Grand Drizzly Scene, where it has my ultimate extended, improved damage negation at low HP, and changes armament skill to Powerful Strike, which is one of my favorite little Ashes of War to use, because it can be helpful at times, especially like, you know, if you want to, you know, if you want to kind of like, you know, kind of like poise through some stuff. You know, maybe get like, you know, the attack in, and you also get like a little bit of health back. I think, and I want to say also, like, I think I also managed to get like some times where I get pretty lucky to be able to, you know, to like pull this off, get a little bit of health back, maybe have, you know, some of my teammates get their health back as well, and also kind of like stance break enemies as well. Yep, so there's that, and then there's this one right here where slowly restore HP for self and allies when HP is low. Attack power increase for each absorbers when defeated, and improved poise and damage negation when knocked back by damage. Now, if I was to do a little thing of having like a common little loadout, I guess, you know, some just, you know, you know, like something I would probably use from time to time, you know, that doesn't have anything specific, like, you know, like the boss that I'm about to, you know, to deal with, then this would probably use for Raider. And then we got the Skidoo Tree Grail, which is all red. This is something I kind of came up with out of the random blue. This is what I call the character skill loadout. So, basically, as you can see, it's like, you know, mostly involves like a couple of relics that have like character skill cooldown reduction. This one has like, you know, +3 vigor, +3 mind. This one has raised stamina recovery upon landing attacks, and raised stamina recovery for allies, but not for self, which, you know, I've already got the other thing, so like it really doesn't matter. And then we come to this one right here, where, you know, get the characters, you know, damage taken when using character skill, improves attack power and stamina. Also got the improved poise and damage negation when knocked back by damage, and +1 in strength. So yeah, those are all the ones that are there. There is more that I've, you know, played around with, because I did do a lot of saving and stuff like that, because some of the characters I might, you know, kind of like use for certain builds, you know, especially like, you know, certain bosses and all that. So yeah, there's character skill, there's Tank Raider, Arcane Raider. This one right here is my two-handing thing. Basically, this is one of my relics. This is one of my little builds where it's like I use a double balancer relics, you know, stuff like that. This is what I call the HP Raider build because it has the Dreadlord relic and the partial HP restoration upon post damage attack, improved damage negation when low HP, and makes HP increase for Sorcerer's Rise unlock. Like I said again, I don't know if this is, I don't know if the yellow thing can come from the, I don't know if it can come from like say the collector sideboard or whatever, but there you go. This one right here, I just kind of just you know played around with, you know, just having like some different boss relics. You know, the first slot has the Everdark Balancers. I think like the second one has you know, the second one has a Augur relic, and the other one has Dark Drift Knight. So you know, and I call it the health and stamina build because you know it's like increased maximum HP, increased maximum stamina. So there's that. This is where my Will of Raider thing is. This is my original like Will of Raider build right here, where it's like I have the damage negation, you know, skill, you know, where the character skill improves attack power and stamina. Also got you know the HP restoration on close weapon attacks and +1 intelligence. Got the Everdark Balancer relic, and then I got a green thing that has approved initial standard attack. Critical hits boost stamina recovery speed, and changes compatible armament skill to Eruption, which is one of my favorite little things to use, especially for Raider. This here is my second fire loadout. I think like I changed the top relic because it had like you know because it had like the increased rune for rune acquisition with self and allies and all that stuff. I still have you know Eruption there. Now this here is my holy loadout involving the partial HP restoration and the Everdark Balancer relic and the Eruption you know skill as well. This here is my lightning loadout. It's for you know for things like Augur and Dark Drift Knight. This here is my colossal sword, swords loadout. Basically, it's a little thing where it's like I have, like, it's like you know, dormant power helps us cover colossal swords. If I get colossal swords, I can be able to get you know HP restoration from that, and then improved attack power with 3+ colossal swords equipped, and also my starting armament deals blood loss, which is pretty cool. The colossal weapon discovery, you guys seen that. Colossal weapons. This is a little something that I kind of made as my. This here is something I made kind of as like my little meta loadout for Raider. Has improved attack power with 3+ colossal weapons equipped. Successful guarding fills more the art gauge and +3 in poise. It has the rare thing there and all that. Faith Raider build, and this one right here is what I call my Totem Stella build. Basically, it involves the the thing of multiple other Totem Stella, basically. So I have Raiders, you know, roll top, you know, I have Raiders thing right there at the top, you know, defeating enemies with near 12 HP. I'll have the ability to have my ultimate arc extended a bit more, and also have improved poise near 12 Stella. So, you know, there's that. Next up is my poison and rot build. I probably would bring this out mostly for bosses like Gaping Jaw. Probably I might do a thing for like Libra or something like that. But basically, you know, it's like involving my starting armament deals poison. I also have the attack power with facing poison inflicted enemies. And I've got the you know the Dreadlord relic for the you know temporary Scarlet Rot. So there's that. And then there's this is my holy loadout right here. This is what I usually would use for like I think it's like Tricephalos and Night Aspect or Hilster. So you know there's that. Give me I feel like I'm about to sneeze, but excuse me. But yeah, so this one right here is what I call the meta loadout. Basically, it involves the double balancer relics and the Everdrill relic. You know, because why the fuck not? Because I know some people kind of been using. Because I know sometimes people like either like use the Everdrill meta or the double balancers meta. So you know, why not kind of put those two together? And then there's my fire loadout. So yeah, you know that's all of my relics and stuff, my relics and builds that I have made for the Raider. I hope you guys have enjoyed. You know, maybe you know you can get some inspiration for you know the build and stuff if you want, if you know you see fit. Let me know what you guys think. You know, let me know which one is your favorite you know little build relic setup that I've made and all that. And of course, you know, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video or live stream. But until then, as always, take care, everybody.